Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Jurnee Taylor. Here's a look at the stories we're following today. The U.S. Supreme Court makes it harder to charge January 6th Capitol rioters with obstruction. More on what today's ruling means coming up. Plus, clean up after a messy presidential debate, where the candidates are headed next in their message to sway undecided voters still ahead. And honoring the life of Ryan Mallett in 11 minutes, we'll show you how the former Razorbacks family is making sure his legacy lives on. But first, we're getting ready for the weekend, and it's looking like it could be a hot one. Meteorologist Simone Thomas tell us what we can expect.
Well, today is getting a little bit warmer than what we saw yesterday, but not nearly as what we're going to see tomorrow. Now, right now, the big story across satellite and radar is some clouds moving into central Arkansas. If you were following me this morning on Wake Up Central, we were watching those clouds moving into northwest Arkansas. Now they're moving into central Arkansas. That warm front you see just to the south is going to be moving north through early afternoon, really only looking to impact those southern Arkansas counties before it breaks down. Right now, temperatures in the upper 80s with some lower 90s further south. 88 the current in Little Rock, Arkadelphia, and Pine Bluff. Camden up to 90 and Texarkana up to 92. As we continue through the afternoon, we're going to see more of those lower to middle 90s in central Arkansas with the upper 90s farther south. 95 looking to be that high in the capital city. 94 looking to be the high in Hot Springs and Pine Bluff. Now, I'll tell you how hot the weekend is looking to be in that 7-day outlook, so make sure you stick around.
All right, Simone, thank you. New at noon, a new U.S. Supreme Court ruling makes it harder to charge Capitol riot defendants with obstruction. The justices ruled that the charge of obstructing an official proceeding enacted in 2002 in response to the financial scandal that brought down Iran must include proof that defendants tried to tamper with or destroy documents. Only some of the people who attacked the Capitol on January 6, 2021 fall into that category. Obstruction is also a charge that's been brought against former President Donald Trump, but it's unclear how the court's decision will affect the case against Trump in Washington. President Biden and former President Trump are back on the campaign trail now that the first presidential debate is in the books. Political watchers saw a shaky performance for the sitting president and noted plenty of unchecked falsehoods from the former president. Jared Hill has reaction from the battleground state where the debate took place.
The first ever debate between a sitting president
and I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on
and a former president.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
Is giving voters a lot to consider. Early in the night, viewers heard President Biden's voice falter and answers that trailed off.
Dealing with everything we have to do with, look.
On the other side of the stage, Trump delivered falsehoods on his economic record.
We have the greatest economy in the history of our country.
His legal troubles.
He indicted me because I was his opponent.
And abortion.
He's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby.
That is simply not true. We are not for late-term abortion, period, period, period.
With just about 4 months until the election, both candidates are already on the campaign trail again, trying to sway undecided voters. After his performance last night, some Democrats are openly contemplating whether it's too late to replace Biden on the ticket. The House Democratic leader was asked whether Biden should step down.
Should he step aside?
Post-debate, many Republicans are celebrating their presumptive nominee.
Donald Trump is the only man on that stage that's qualified and capable of serving as the next president.
As of now, both candidates are still committed to meeting on the debate stage again in September. Jared Hill, CBS News, Atlanta, Georgia.
President Biden is campaigning in Raleigh, North Carolina today, while former President Trump is courting voters in Chesapeake, Virginia, as he looks to make a play for that state. Now today marks 1 week since a gunman opened fire at Fordyce grocery store, killing 4 people and hurting several others. Funerals for the victims are now underway and continue into next week. Meanwhile, the Fordyce community continues to come together after last week's tragedy, helping each others in several ways. Multiple food distributions and fundraisers are scheduled in and around Fordyce to help those impacted by Friday's shooting. And in addition to keeping people fed, community members are offering free counseling services. The Arkansas Department of Health is also working to make sure families and babies are taken care of through the state's WIC program.
I just like to see how our community came together, and something that was so tragic, we're seeing a little good out of it.
You can find more information about the resources available and how you can help people in Fordyce on our website, that's thv11.com. And last night, we also learned that the Mad Butcher grocery store where the shooting happened will reopen on Tuesday. It will be operating with limited hours starting at 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. until further notice. In other news, the Oklahoma business where Stacey Lee Drake allegedly killed 2 people is giving back to the victims' families this week. He says they would constantly go out of their way to help customers. Tara's dad says Southward has been going above and beyond to make sure the family's needs are met. Southward says they are also donating to a fundraiser to help.
Event hosts allowed us to be able to provide some of the food for that, and baskets. Anyone can bring baskets to any of the LaFerry's locations, and those baskets will be auctioned off, and those proceeds will be given to the family for their future and what's next for them. The event honoring Jurnee Taylor is set for July 20th. As for Drake, he faces 2 first-degree murder charges in their deaths. He also is accused of 2 separate murders in El Reno, Oklahoma, and Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Yesterday's ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court allowing Idaho hospitals to provide emergency abortions could signal changes in states with similar strict abortion rules, including here in Arkansas. Now, under the current rules, abortions are illegal unless the mother's life is in danger. Right now, Arkansas, for limited government, is working to approve an amendment that will loosen abortion restrictions on the November ballot, but it's not without its challenges.
It does away with parental consent. It does away with informed consent, where women aren't going to be told all the risk and alternatives to abortion.
There's not a word in the amendment about informed consent being less important or less rigorous than one would expect in the first place. It's just not there.
Organizers for the ballot push have until next Friday, July 5th, to get the required signatures. And the final casino license for the state of Arkansas has officially been dealt. The Arkansas Racing Commission voted yesterday to select Cherokee Nation Entertainment for the development. The decision comes now 6 years after Arkansans passed Amendment 100, which allowed for 4 casino licenses in Arkansas. The casino operator hopes to have all their permits in the 90 days and begin construction shortly after. Former Arkansas State Senator and congressional candidate Joyce Elliott has suffered a stroke. They said it happened early this week while in Dallas. She's been transferred back to a Little Rock hospital after 2 days of treatment and a successful surgery. The Little Rock Democrat retired from the Senate last year after more than 20 years at the Capitol and ran for Congress in 2020. Well, it's been 1 year since the tragic death of former Arkansas Razorback Ryan Mallett. Now his family is making it their mission to make sure his impact isn't lost. We'll show you what they're doing after the break.
Now we're heating up this weekend, but some rain chances are on the way as well that we need to talk about. I have all the details on the week ahead and that 7-day forecast that's coming up after this break.
And it's the hottest selling condiment right now, figuratively and literally. A little later, we're taking a look at why hot sauce is having a moment.